Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So the headphones are on, which means we're reacting to a video, and we're going to be reacting to my own video, considering we only have like a month left in the season, only the conference finals and the Stanley Cup finals. I thought it's the perfect time to react to my before the season predictions for this season, my 2024 standings predictions, because as much as I like to parade whenever I get one thing right once in a blue moon, I got to take my lumps. And if I remember some of my standing predictions, I haven't watched this video, so my standings and awards predictions, there's gonna be some pretty horrible takes here, like really bad takes. So I gotta roll with it. I gotta be willing to make fun of myself and hold myself accountable, because I think there's a lot of room for improvement, especially with some of the awards that I predicted heading into next season and just the overall standings. So I think this has regular season standings, awards, and my playoff predictions. I think that's basically what this video is. It's about 4 minutes. We're gonna go through it. I'm about to rip off the fattest. Okay, so, and look at that hair, man. I'm not going to be able to grow back that hair for another like 2 to 3 months. That's ideal length, combed, probably like hour after a shower. Let's get into it. Who cares? Okay, so the NHL season starts in roughly 2 hours, so it is now time for me to give my full predictions, regular season, postseason, and awards. The full division predictions and the teams that I'm looking at it. Devils. I was a little bit lower regular season on the Devils than most. Still at 106 points, but I remember I got hate for that, saying that they were going to be like winning the division with these, but again, they missed the playoffs entirely, so that was still a massive miss by me. Let me see what else. I had the Panthers out of the playoffs. I still had the Bruins. I still believed in them. Or maybe I had so I had the Islanders with the same amount of points as the Panthers. That's piss poor. Capitals in the mix. Penguins missing, obviously. I was lower on the Rangers, but everybody had the Devils and the Canes ahead of them. Flyers at 64. I don't really think that's an L. I think most people had them very low. Jackets 75, somehow missed on that. Atlantic Division, Senator. The Senators, man. The Senators. I really believed in them. I think if they got decent goaltending, they would have been in the playoff mix for one of those wild card spots. But yeah, that is a massive miss, but an identifiable miss considering the goaltending. I was pretty low on the Sabres, only at 88 points after what they had like 92. That ended up, they were worse than that, I believe. But Red Wings also too low on them. Canadians, okay. Moving on to the Central Division. Stars, Avs. Got that right. That was kind of, you could write that in. Or I guess the Jets actually finished second, but those were an obvious, like, two best teams in the Central Division. Had the Jets in the playoffs, but much lower than they finished. The Wild kind of shat the bed when looking at it. They finished like 87 points. Just couldn't really put it together after a bad start. Predators at 84. Jeez, dude, this is not looking good. Blackhawks, remember that was like my top bet this season. Blackhawks under 72 points. I could hang my head on that. Oilers 111 did not really work out. The Kings 104. Yikes. They didn't even finish. No, they did finish in a Pacific spot. Canucks at 93, but the Flames ahead of them. I was high on the Flames, dude, but once they kind of went down the direction that they were selling at this year's deadline, that was absolutely cooked. Once they sold the door up, I'm like, this is not going to be good. This is not going to be a good season for them. So overall, pretty bad. Not gonna lie. Pretty bad, but I don't think anybody had the Canucks winning the division. The Devils not in the playoffs. So some obvious ones, but the Panthers is really bad, 92 points. I thought they were going to have a Stanley Cup hangover, or Stanley Cup final hangover like we've seen with some teams. Who else? Flames is bad. Not good. Not good. Let's see what else I have in terms of.
I think are going to make the playoffs. I didn't have time to make a separate Atlantic Division TikTok, but I have a full YouTube video on it. We do not have time to go more in depth. Let's move on. First, in terms of the most underrated team.
Okay. That's something positive. I think. Wait, did I have them in the playoffs even? No, I had them missing the playoffs by 1 point, but still, let's see what
I think it's the Vancouver Canucks. I think they could surprise a lot of people. They obviously have the star power, as well as I think they have the depth this year, as well as Thatcher Demko improving. They are my sneaky potential.
Okay, I didn't have them in the playoffs, but I did say that they were a very underrated team. Yeah, they always had the star power. As long as Demko was okay, I thought they'd bounce back. Demko coming into this season was extremely underrated just because he was horrible to start the prior year, but good down the stretch once he came back from injury. I'll take that as a win. Even though I didn't have the Canucks at like 100 points safely in the playoffs, I was very high on them. Most people were not.
Playoff team. Overrated, on the other hand, I think the Buffalo.
Overrated? Okay. So I got my overrated and underrated correct. I can at least hang my hat on that. I know it's only probably going to go downhill from here. I was high on the Senators, not so much the Sabres. Both pretty massively were overrated coming into the season. Big disappointments. If you watched my video yesterday, they were my third and fourth most disappointing team in the entire NHL. But at least I got this one right.
A little bit out of control. I think in 2 to 3 years they're going to be a legit contender.
Yeah, I've always said that. Like, I was not high on the Sabres this year. I still think going forward they have one of the brightest futures in the entire NHL.
Didn't do enough this offseason. Their only big move was like signing Connor Clifton to make me think they're a legitimate playoff team. Final, I think everybody assumed that
Oh no! I remember I had Colorado winning the cup, which again they lost in the second round, but after they lost in Trushkin, they were kind of cooked. Devils in the cup. At least I didn't have them winning. But still, that is piss poor. A second round exit in a team that was like 11th in the Eastern Conference. Let's see what the logic was there. I mean, like, I'm not going to act like this. Devils were a pretty basic pick, just completely.
I was going to run it back with the Edmonton Oilers, and I almost did, but at like the final week.
I should have ran it back with the Edmonton Oilers. I switched to Dallas in like January before they were like some people's favorites for the most part, so I have that going. But still, yeah, I did eventually switch on the Colorado Avalanche.
Change of heart, and I am going with the Colorado Avalanche over the New Jersey Devils. I think both of these teams are going to have to find their groove in the regular season. That's why I don't have them that high in that previous slide. But once they start cooking, these are the most talented rosters and well-balanced in my opinion.
I still think that they are like top 5 talented rosters. Just when looking at it for Colorado, the Johansson trade absolutely fell on its face. What else happened? Landeskog just never came back, so I still think the talent next year, if these two teams make the Stanley Cup final, I will not be shocked one bit.
Avalanche obviously lost last year in the first round, but a big part of that was no Landeskog. They weren't able to use his $7 million for the most part. Natrushkin got hurt. Makar got suspended for
left the team under weird. He left the team yet again, but the circumstances were pretty clear this year.
This year, they are far improved. Actually, have some forward.
Yeah, so I still think they were a better team this year compared to last year. Just ran into a better Dallas team, and especially once Natrushkin was down. If they beat Dallas, I think they would have had a pretty decent shot at Edmonton and to eventually win the Stanley Cup. No ifs, ands, or buts. Lost in the second round. Let's see what I have to say about New Jersey. Fucking dumbass.
Forward core depth now. They're able to sign guys like Duran. I think Ross Colton's an upgrade over Newhook. Tatar, Johansson.
Tatar, Johansson, both massive flops for the Colorado Avalanche. In part why they had to go ahead and get a Casey Middlestat. I still think they were a deeper team, but yeah, unacceptable.
Far more impressive forward core. In terms of defense core, they obviously have the best pairing.
I'm skipping through this.
Defense core, and in net, I don't think Georgiev's a top 8 goaltender, but he's somewhere between like 9 through 15.
Not 9 through 15 nowadays. I'd say like 10 through 20. Still can be like an okay starter, serviceable, but yeah, he showed his true colors yet again in these playoffs. Not playing good enough, and as a result, the Dallas Stars beat them.
Devils, I could see them easily winning the Stanley Cup, given their
Yikes.
Firepower, but the defense core, there's a little bit of question marks considering Luke Hughes and Nemec have never played an NHL game.
Yeah, I mean, Luke Hughes and Nemec were fine. Luke Hughes needs to fix it up defensively, but I can't use excuses because even if Dougie Hamilton was healthy, they maybe would have been a wild card team, probably still would have lost in the first round. But the defense core, yeah, definitely needs some work under Sheldon Keefe.
If they live up to it and exceed expectations, I could see him winning. Art Ross, I'm not going to overthink it. As long as
basic, ended up being wrong
he's
too.
Probably going to win it. My runner-up for the Hart is Austin Matthews, and a dark horse for the Ross, besides McDavid and Draisaitl, I have Jack Hughes.
Jack Hughes started out fantastic. I was very high on Jack Hughes coming into the season, so when he had like 28 points in his first 14 games, it's like I really cooked with that. Then he got hurt, never really was the same. Now, when looking at that, obviously, McKinnon's going to win the Hart. I think I had him 4th in my ballot that I sent out. It was like McDavid, Matthews, Hughes, McKinnon, rough, whatever, preseason ballot. So that was kind of a miss. And Kucherov, not that good.
I obviously have Austin Matthews finishing second in the Hart, which means he's going to score a shit ton of goals.
Back in the win column.
A lot of people wrong this year and remind everybody why.
This wasn't that hot of a take, if I'm going to be honest. I think McDavid was favored to win the Rocket Richard coming into the season. But yeah, I was big on Matthews having this bounce back because he only had 40 goals, 45 assists in 74 games the prior season. People were like, oh, he already peaked with 60 goals that one year. Clearly not the case. Clearly went on to hit 67, but I can't act like I'm a hockey guru for picking Austin Matthews to win the Rocket Richard.
Sleeper for this award, I'm going to go with Kirill Kaprizov. Back-to-back years of putting up around like 49. 50.
Kaprizov, I mean, bad, slowish start, but down the stretch, he was one of the best goal scorers in the entire NHL.
Goal pace, he wasn't
still
healthy fully
not close
last
to
year.
second.
I could see him getting.
Imagine I was just like, Sam Reinhart's going to score 57 goals this year, like I just called it. Dark horse, Sam Reinhart's going to finish second. Zach Hyman, he's going to put up 50 goals.
Trophy similar to the Art Ross and Hart. If Cale Makar plays the full season, he's probably going to
boring.
win those trophies. 66
probably
points
the
in 60
runner-up,
games
though.
last year. He would have won it as well. My second place is actually Quinn Hughes.
Woo! That's solid. He was probably
Off the board.
5th best odds
with
with
point
per game.
Again, the Canucks are a pretty good team.
I know what's coming probably after this, so I need to golf clap this up to brace this for who my Jack Adams pick is, if you remember it. But yeah, I was high on Quinn Hughes. I had Quinn Hughes second on my Norris ballot. I was going to pick McCarr because he was like the heavy favorite. He's like plus 110 coming into the season. So just against the field compared to anybody else, you're going to go with Cale Makar. But yeah, I was very high on Quinn Hughes coming into the season, so I'll take a slight W on that.
Vezina Trophy, I have it going to
Not
Igor
that good.
Shesterkin. I've said it multiple
Played bad to start this season. Oh no, am I about to say? I think I'm about to say I think he's going to have to carry because Jonathan Quick is the backup. I remember I kept on saying that before the season. Jonathan Quick literally carried the Rangers the first month or two.
times, but I did not like the Jonathan Quick pickup.
In fairness, dude, Jonathan Quick sucked the prior season in LA. Jonathan Quick's been the most bipolar goalie the last 4 or 5 years. One season he's great for LA, then he stinks, then he's great again, then he stinks, then he goes to New York, then he's great again. Like, bad take. Do not get me wrong, but
he's gonna have to really.
If you look at what Quick did the prior season, you couldn't have expected. No one was like Jonathan Quick's be stuff.
The load, and for my second place and kind of an underdog guy, I have Jake Ottinger.
Yeah, I was high on the Stars, so I just thought Jake Ottinger would win a shit ton of games. I was never like, Jake Ottinger is a legit top 5 goalie in the entire NHL. I was like, he can win 38 and 39 games. People will vote for him.
And I'm not going to go against Connor Bedard like I'm not going to go.
Yeah, let's go. I know puck.
By far the most talented rookie. I could maybe see him not winning just because the Blackhawks are not that good of a team, but he should be somewhere in the 7-point range.
You tell him. You tell
I'll
him.
go with Adam Fantilli. If he somehow gets promoted to that top power play, maybe even that top line with Goudreau and Laine, he could go for mid-60s, maybe even sniffing.
Imagine I was like, Brock Faber is a real contender.
Jack Adams, Jay Woodcroft.
Yeah, I knew this one was coming. And again, I think Jay Woodcroft got the short end of the stick, considering the underlying numbers were still very good for Edmonton. I fully believe that he would have turned it around and they would have been a safe playoff team. He just got like .850 goaltending in his first 12 games. He can't control that. He can't control Jack Campbell. The fact Ken Holland gave him fucking Jack Campbell. So horrible. Again, horrible. But, I mean, he got left out to dry, man. It's not as bad as when I picked Travis Green like 2 years ago to win the Jack. I just have a bad whenever I pick a Jack Adams winner before the season, bet that coach to be the first coach hired. You'd actually go 2 out of 3 the last 3 years somehow.
Edmonton has pretty consistently been a mid to 100-point team at this point. I have them at 111, and I think they're going to be a far more consistent team.
Got fired because they're worst team for the first 13
years where they
games.
Had to just go balls to the wall at the end to get to those point totals. In the final award, the Jim Gregory.
I forgot about this. Oh no, Fitz was like one of my worst general managers this season. That's really bad. Oh, I mean, he didn't address the goaltending, and Dougie Hamilton got hurt. Yeah, that's unfortunate. When looking at it, I still think that he had a good offseason when looking at the Brad extension. Yeah, that's not good.
The best
Didn't even get a
GM.
first-round pick for Tyler Toffoli.
I'm going to go with Tom Fitzgerald. He honestly should have won it last year, but this award is
He probably should have won it last year. Yeah, they just didn't win. They just didn't make it to the second round.
stupid. It gets voted on after the second round.
They still should change that. It's really stupid.
Playoffs. I have the Devils getting past the second round this year. The Tyler Toffoli deal for Sharon Govich and
Oh no, what am I about to say? I really love that deal, and I still think Toffoli was like the better player than Sharon Govich. Underlying numbers definitely suggest that. Production was about the same, but yeah. Devils.
Third was an utter steal, and I think he's probably going to pull some great deals at the deadline as well.
They should have fucking traded for a goalie back in January, and they would have made the playoffs. But
really transformed this team over the past year. Anyway, let me know in the comments, what do you think about these takes? Knowing me, the Edmonton Oilers are going to end up winning the Stanley Cup now, and tonight I'm
still could happen.
live on YouTube streaming the Penguins versus Blackhawks game. A little watch along.
So, when looking at that, yeah, I think the things that are obvious is the fact Jay Woodcroft was fired immediately. Senators shat the bed, but for some positives, I was high on Quinn Hughes. I was high on the Vancouver Canucks. Overall, got to be better next season. I just got to avoid the catastrophes. You get what I'm saying? Putting my neck on the line for the Ottawa Senators was not smart. I just got to not have my head coach, Jack Adams' pick end up getting fired, and we'll be perfectly fine. We'll be bowling out. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? Which ones do you think were the worst picks out of all these? Which ones do you think were actually good picks for the most part? I forgot to mention, but Seattle, I had very low. I had them at like the 86-point mark. I got shit for that. Got to pat myself on the back for that regression. But still, overall, not very good. Let me know in the comments, what do you think? When we run this back next year, I will be better, I promise you. Actually, before I go, I want to make an official statement that I have based on these predictions and how bad they were. I don't have any words, and I know you don't want to hear them. I understand your anger, your frustration, your sadness, everything you're feeling. I get it. This isn't the ending I imagined, and it's certainly not the one I wanted. Thank you for being there the entire way. If you get that inside joke, you get that inside joke. If not, see ya in the next one.